Hey guys, if you're interested in learning how to make knives and eventually turning that into a business, I'm going to share with you the tool that helped me the most to build that up into what I do now. Hello, my name is David, and I help beginner knife makers learn more about the craft and improve their skills, as well as learn how to actually grow into a small business. So if that interests you, you should definitely subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos in the future. So I'm going to talk about the tool that really gave me a boost when I started out in my knife making business, and it helped me to really grow in a very cost-effective way. This is a Harbor Freight 1x30-inch belt sander. Now, not everybody likes these, but they are a very cost-effective way to get into it, especially if you're either starting on a budget or you're making knives to sell to upgrade your shop. These are a really good one to start with in those cases. So one of the biggest advantages of this belt sander is the price. It's very affordable. Anyone can get this belt sander. I believe it's $50 to $70 at the time that I'm recording this. And when I bought this one, it was like $42, and some people got them for cheaper, but that was years ago. As it stands, I think they're $50 to $70 to get one, but they are also widely available. So you can get these at Harbor Freight, whereas something like a 2x42, you may have to order that online. Some Harbor Freights might have a bench grinder version of a 2x42. I've not used that personally, but they're out there. And then another option that is at Harbor Freight is a 4x36 and a 6x36. I don't recommend those because they're more intended for woodworking, which is why they have a slower RPM and a wider surface area. But that slower RPM, it prevents wood from burning when you're sanding it, and that's really what they're for. But it doesn't do very well at removing steel, especially in a very timely manner. This is a very good in-between RPM. I think these have about 3,400 RPMs. So they turn pretty good. They turn fast enough to adequately remove steel. So I would opt for something like this, especially because of the price difference between the machines. This is going to be a lot cheaper than a 4x36 or a 6x36. And it's also a lot cheaper than a 2x42. Because of the price difference, I don't think that the price difference makes up for the performance difference if you intend to sell your knives. Now, if you're selling your knives, this is kind of a variable that you can play with. Let's say you want a 2x72 long-term, but you're just starting out and you don't have the money to invest in one, which is reasonable. They're expensive. I think some of the cheaper ones are around $1,000. So this one being $50 to $70, it's going to be a lot better to actually get into it. But if you're starting out, you don't have the money to invest in the one you want, but you do intend to sell your knives, this machine is reliable. It's not fast, it's not powerful, the belts don't last extremely long, but it is reliable. It's a well-proven machine. I know some of the 2x42s have had reliability issues, but that's just find one that's reliable. That's not an issue. Just do your research on that. But this is a reliable machine. It will get you there. And I've made about 150 knives, which depending on the price range of the knife you make, a lot of them that I made were cheaper. And they were things like railroad spike knives or knives that have a squirrel tail tang or something like that that I made and sold for quite a bit cheaper in higher numbers because I just needed the velocity to get the money back to invest in other tools and things like that. So if you're doing something like that, you can make, an average of $70 per knife. It doesn't take very long and you can make $10,000 worth of knives just with this machine. I did. So I probably made about 150 knives, and they weren't all priced that cheap, and some of them were, the cheaper ones, some of them were more expensive, but I made a lot of knives with this machine, and it was reliable. So if you want to actually upgrade your belt sander, this is a good one to start from because it'll make the money to upgrade. Now, if you're just buying a machine to use it, and you're not really planning on selling your knives, then you can buy whatever machine you want, because it's just going to be buy it and use it, and you won't need to worry so much about upgrading later based on the income from the machine. But as far as income to investment ratio, these are really, really good. It doesn't get a lot better than this for a belt sander, at least not for this cheap. Another thing that this belt sander is great for is sharpening. I keep it in my shop and I do use it for sharpening knives, ones that I've made and things like that. And that'll keep you from using a 2x72, which you can do. It's just, it takes off a lot of material. It's very fast, and especially with finer belts, it can overheat the knife really easily. This one can too, it's just not as likely to. As far as the belts go, the availability for these is really, really good because it is a standardized size that's very popular. So you can buy these in Harbor Freight and you don't have to order them online. You can, and I do for the higher grits because they don't sell those in Harbor Freight, but you can buy them at Harbor Freight. So they're easy to get the same day if you need them, versus if you have a 2x42, you may have to order them online if you can't find somebody locally who supplies them. But these are going to be available in Harbor Freight, so they're a lot easier to get day of if you need them. All right, I'd like to hear from you guys now. Where are you in your shop building process? Do you have a belt sander yet? Are you looking to get one? Do you have an established shop, or do you have a beginner's shop with the basic tools? I'd love to hear from you guys. What type of shop setup do you have? So once you get this belt sander, there are a few things that you can change once you get it to actually make it work a little better for you. And there are some attachments it comes with as well. It came with this work rest, which I never really used. I didn't really use them at the time, and I still don't. But I found it kind of hard to use and hard to level. And it didn't seem like it worked overly well, but it is there, and it's, you know, it's probably functional if you mess with it, but I just never did. The other thing it comes with is guards. It comes with a big guard that covers the belt entirely, other than just this section of it right here. I got rid of that, and pretty much everybody who uses these does, because you don't really need it. And if you're worried about safety, just remember that the 2x72-inch belt sanders all have no guards. Nobody ever uses them with guards. So it's not really a huge safety deal. Plus, belt sanders in general are not very accident-prone machines. Something like an angle grinder is a lot more accident-prone, but belt sanders typically don't catch clothing the same way. And even if a belt breaks or something like that, it's a lightweight object. It doesn't really have a lot of mass. Usually they pop and it's scary, but it doesn't harm you. I had one time that I got like a scab from a piece of one that was loose, but that wasn't even with a 1x30. That was with the 2x72. It also came with a guard that covered the top wheel here, but I took it off because I use this as a contact wheel, and it really hasn't worn out. Like, there's a little mark on that. That was from an angle grinder, but even using this as a contact wheel, it's not really worn out or need to be replaced. The other thing that I did is this not guard, it's a piece of the frame here. This used to extend out a little more, and it came out past the wheel. So I took an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel and I cut that off. That's what the mark in this wheel's from. And that allowed me to set knives on it to grind fullers in. So that's another modification that I made to it that just fit my needs a little bit better. And with a machine this cheap, you can kind of just tailor it to whatever you want. You can also adjust or remove this plate entirely. I've heard of people removing them if they're using them for sharpening to sharpen convex edges, but that's there for, you know, adjustment and things. It's not in just a fixed position. So that's my take on a 1x30-inch belt sander. Some people like them, some people don't, but the truth is that for me, it really built my shop into what it is today. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you want to learn more about making knives and possibly even turning the hobby into a business. Until next time, stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.